Hello, I'm Jen Stockman, and I want to welcome you to this session of the War on Your Voice mini course. What is the point of your voice? In the kingdom, the point of your voice is radically different than in the world. In the world, there's lots of ambition, striving, and performing, search for significance and meaning. In the kingdom, the point of your voice is at the very beginning. Before you've done a thing, before you've had a moment of impact, your voice is eternal. Jesus is our highest model for this eternal significance, because before he preached a single message, before he raised anyone from the dead, before he healed any sick or extended any kindness, he was in a manger, a tiny little baby who was completely dependent on Mary and Joseph to care for him. He could do nothing with his voice, with who he was externally. The power was not in what he could do. The power was in, who is he? Who is this child? That he was and is and will always be God with us. So the point of his voice was eternally secure before he could do anything with it. Your voice, the reality of who you are, is eternally significant because of who you belong to, because of who you come from. You belong to a Father who wanted you, who chose you, who created you. It's entirely different than a voice in a company and you're one of many to a boss, or in an army and you're one of many to a captain. When you are a son or a daughter, that makes your voice irreplaceable for the rest of time. In a crowd of 10,000, your voice is unique because it's your voice and because a father is hearing it. In a culture of the world, we have to be the loudest, the most brilliant, the most profound to stand out. That's the true heart of an orphan, that what I do makes me significant. But to a son or a daughter, it's who you are that makes you significant. In a crowd of 10,000, my girls stand out because they're mine. A couple of my daughters are in theater. A couple of my daughters are athletes. And when we go to a production to watch them, we get flowers, we have a bouquet. And I'm not sitting next to my husband, Justin, saying, okay, babe, let's just look for whoever's the best. And that's who we're going to give these flowers to. That's who we're going to take home. They're going to be worthy of our love, whoever is the best. No. We are looking for and watching, completely captivated, the ones who belong to us. We are looking for ours. And it doesn't matter if they're the best because they're ours. Their effort, giving their best, is important to me, but not to get my approval, not to get my adoration, not to get my affection. That's the definition of dysfunction, when I have to work for your love. The definition of love, of pure love that comes only from God, is that it cannot be earned. It's coming from a source, no matter what you do or do not do. The Father is in charge of his own well of love. And your performance does not determine if you're his son or his daughter. that he shows up to your life to see you because you belong to him. And he is listening for you in your hour of history. He wants to hear you. I remember I was in ministry school, just a young woman right out of high school. Yeah, well, I had a year of college and then I went to ministry school. So I was like 19, 20. And I just sat in the back of the class one day and the Holy Spirit was just doing some beautiful work in the classroom that day. And our leader had been inviting people to the front to come and pray on the mic or say something. And I remember that day, there was like a line of people lined up to pray and declare things. And I just remember thinking, oh my gosh, they've all said it. What is there left to say? They've said it better than me. They're more profound than me. They're more spiritual than me. And I remained silent that day because I was thinking like an orphan. I was thinking people speak who deserve to speak. And I had completely diminished who I was to the Father, unintentionally, unconsciously. When I was writing this book, The War on Your Voice, I was getting up at 4 a.m. every morning and the words were just gushing out of me and I would fly out of bed because I just felt so alive being who he created me to be. The writing had become the sweetest song I had ever sang. As far as my expression of worship, it had become my offering, the writing. And I remember one morning just having a vision in my mind's eye. And I just saw Jesus. I would write in the early morning out on my deck. And I just saw him waiting for me, peering over my shoulder, reading the words. And it took my breath away, realizing that Jesus had been waiting to read the words I had written. When we sing songs in worship, he is listening for your voice. He is listening for you. And, you know, in a crowd of 10,000, 10,000 people could be saying, I love you, Lord. But when you're a father, that I love you, Lord, coming from your child is irreplaceable. It doesn't matter if 3 of my girls say, I love you. It doesn't replace the I love you coming from my 4th child. Sons and daughters are irreplaceable to fathers and mothers. And that is wired within us, created in the image of a father. I just want to invite you today to recognize that the point of your voice is not to be the best, the most profound, the most revelation, the most anointed, the most gifted and talented. The point of your voice is he's listening for you. The point of your voice is intimacy with this Father, with Jesus, with the Holy Spirit, that before the foundation of the world wanted you and chose. So today, the most fulfilling thing you'll ever do with your voice is to recognize you are a son, you are a daughter, and that is what makes your voice stand out to the Father in a crowd of 10,000.